أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو له أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. All praises be to Allah, Lord and Sustainer of the worlds, and all praises be to His Prophet, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the only messenger and the last prophet. Assalamu alaikum to my mother, to my Muslim brothers and sisters, and may peace and blessings be to all those who are not Muslims but still striving. Now, about the Palestinian thing that's going on right now with Israel, if y'all haven't seen me on this talking about this, I am on Facebook and I really actually go hard on them. I was just watching over the the storyline where the man is still in the lady's home, and there's a quote that he says, "If I don't steal it, someone else will," and that made me laugh a little bit because it's funny how you got all this bravado that you could say that if I don't steal it, someone else will, even though right now Israel is trying to eliminate every Palestinian, even though this is their country. You took over their country, you stole land in their country, and you're trying to steal them and push them out into the river, didn't cry about anybody else talking about because there's a video of a famous Palestinian who says from the river to the sea, but y'all misinterpreted saying that she's trying to push all the Jews to the sea, which she never says that. And I've listened to it like 1,000 times. I still don't hear her saying it. But it's what y'all saying. Uh, People are really weird on this subject. People get really weird. Like there's a black lady from 2 years ago that was on a panel and was talking greatly for Israel, but I don't see nobody on panels talking greatly for blacks in America. But you're talking greatly for Israel, talking about how there are allies, how they're doing this, how they're doing that. But for whom? Because they haven't done anything for America. They actually, all those whom we're supposed to back have not done anything for us. Nah, has not done a damn thing for us. And I'm not talking about for the government. I'm talking about for the regular people that's in America. For the black people that's in America getting killed like animals on the streets. We getting shot down. We went through not quite apartheid like what's going on in Israel and Palestine and what has been going on in other countries, but we have gone through the Jim Crow law, the segregation law, the things that black people in America has gone through, people in Palestine is going through as of right now, or actually been going through. So this isn't just on what you can see. It is actually happening as of right now, and they blame it on Hamas, which I've spoken to the people that's close to that's in Hamas and those who are around that area, and they had no idea about certain things until they happened. There, Hamas only attacks the building itself, the government themselves, not the people. And yet you still got Israelites talking about death to Palestinians. You got one person saying, I wouldn't trust an Arab in the world. Well, I don't trust you. Not saying that I have Jewish friends, but not saying I don't trust them. I would put my trust in them. Our books may differ, but hey, I'll still trust them. I would still trust a Christian because I got Christian friends. Actually, I used to go out with a Christian, and so I have real love for Christians. I have real love for Jews. But one thing I don't love is people who back a country who's doing wrong. Well, actually, technically, in all reality, it is not a country. Israel is not a country. It is not a state inside of a country. It's a stolen piece of land and calling it theirs. That's literally what it is. It's stolen land. I I may not on this channel may not even fully go into details like I do in on Facebook because I know that YouTube could kick you off for saying any wrong thing, but or anything that they don't like, pretty much. So I would not challenge it. But like I said, it's just like every other place. You don't get what you want. And that's where we got to change. We got to change the way people think. One a little piece at a time, a little person at a time. It may not happen overnight. It may be just a little segment at a time. You can change someone's mind a little bit at a time. You can actually do that. And that's one thing I've always seen that is true and actually work. You can change people's thoughts. You can, but you got to work at it. You got to show them the betterness out of something. Islam does not stand for just warmongers. We're not warmongers. We actually do peace. When the Prophet first war that he went to, they darn near lost, but they came back and what did they do? They practiced peace. They didn't get ready for war. They didn't even have celebrations that they won. They came back and started and was pushing peace. That is that should be an example to everyone. Not something that people should look at and mishandle or misuse. That should be an example for people to know what to do during war. You don't celebrate during war. You feel bad for that which you had to commit. You had to go in and kill someone. That shouldn't be a celebration. It shouldn't be a celebration. You shouldn't want to celebrate killing somebody. That is not killing someone should be at the last resort. Always the last resort to anything that you do. Killing someone should be the last thing that you would want to do, not the first thing. It seems like the police in America, the very first thing you want to do towards a black person is kill them. Why? Because you're afraid of us. You're afraid of something you don't understand. That's why you sit there and you have a chit chat with the person. You talk with them. The last thing on your mind should be trying to kill the person, unless they make movements to where you have no other choice but to kill them. You have no other choice. I've seen video after video of a cop pulling the gun out and shooting people and shooting a black person. I've seen videos where it wouldn't even wasn't the black person didn't even have a gun in his hand and they still shot. They still pulled the trigger. He put his hands up and everything and they still pulled the trigger. So how can anyone represent for anything, whether it be holding a badge or holding a position in office, and you allow your own in your own government to do this, your own people to die? So I understand what Hamas. I get what Hamas is doing. They shooting rockets back as much as Israel shooting rockets over there. It may not go anywhere because they got a good defense. So it may not go anywhere. But at least they're trying. They're trying to do something. At least they're trying to defend their people. It may not even work, but at least they're trying. If we do what we do for the sake of others, then at least we doing what we doing for the sake of others. If we try our best to become good people, then we're doing what we're doing. We're letting people know this is what is going on and this is not right. Islam does not stand for terrorists. That's one thing whatsoever. Islam do not stand for terrorists. Hell, I don't even stand for terrorists. I stand for what Malcolm X stood for. Any means necessary if you put your hands on me. That's exactly what he meant. If you put your hands on me, any means necessary, I will knock you down. But if you don't come over and push upon me anything, I will not push upon you anything. I will not come upon you. Why? Because I respect the fact that you are a human being. I may not respect you as a person, but I respect the life that Allah has given you. Who am I to take that life away? Who am I to come upon you and take your life away unwillingly, unjustifiable? You got to do something to justify my reason for taking your life. You have to immediately do something. If you don't do nothing, I'm not going to come upon you to take your life. The one thing about jihad, one thing, well, there's a couple of things, but one of the one things I know of is self-restraint. Because every one of us have an inner demon inside of us. Some most than others. Some are stronger than others. We all have an inner jinn that's living inside of us. Every last one of us. And if we can keep our nuffs down, then that is the highest part of jihad there is. And everybody's afraid of that word, jihad. Everybody's afraid of that word. Everybody is afraid of that word. Why? Because it comes with terrorism. But it's not. It's an actual, the best form of that word is to fight the jihad within yourself. If you could fight that within yourself, then you are doing better than most. You are doing better than anyone else on this world. I see it all the time. Muslim women getting attacked, getting harmed, even black. Let's not mix the two. Black women are the same. We're getting beat. Well, technically not most all the time in America because, you know, but for a while there in LA, they were beating black women. They were coming through, women would walk the streets and the racist white groups would come in and attack them. Way back when, racist white groups would come and attack families. See, then they would do it outright. Here they had to do it in the quietness of the streets. But that's soon to give up. Soon they'll be out here doing it how many days or whatever. And that's because we got to figure out our own laws. Black people, Arabs, Muslims, we have to come together. Because in all reality, in America, white people are the majority. They're very less, they're very skim, they're the less popular, especially now, especially the police. They're less popular, even though there are good cops on the force, and I know a lot of them. They're not standing up for the people. They're not standing up. And I understand why. Because you'll get chastised and demonized. You'll get uh, harmed more if you stand up for people. A lot of shows will show it. A lot of cop shows actually show what happens if you stand up against wrongness, against people who, against your own fellow officer, if he does something cold, you'll get tortured out of the game, they'll make you quit. And so that's what happens. They won't have your back. And that's why I say that, there are some police officers that are afraid of doing it. There are some cops that just don't want to come out because they know the repercussions of doing that is. The green wall is only thick as they tell you it is. Once you betray one of their own, or once you go off and kill, just like that one with George Floyd, that those officers, they were fired. One of the officers got sentenced to prison. Why? Because he was fired. He was no longer a cop. That's why the police was able to pop up at his trial. That's why they was able to say those things that they said against him, because he was fired. No longer a police officer, no longer working for the force. He was fired. So if you're no longer working for the force, you're no longer a cop. Ain't nothing more that they won't have your back anymore because of that reason. People must understand that in life you have your choices. And if you don't work on your choices, then that is something that you have to decide for your own. If you don't make the decision to be a good person, then who knows what's going to happen. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.